All right, welcome in KC Sports Tonight, Wednesday edition. That's Neil Jones. He's just hiding. I'm Katie Marr, waiting for him to say a punchline.
Well, no, I mean, you've
It's
been
coming.
sick, and I heard that you told people that I was making you sick, so I
Yeah.
thought that I would wear a mask so that you couldn't say I made you sick again.
Yeah, I was just sick of Neil Jones and I needed a week off. That's exactly what happened.
Well, we worked together pretty for a long time that last day, and then the next day you were all but dead. I felt terrible.
Yeah.
Are you feeling better? Do you have the flu?
I feel much better. I did not have the flu, didn't have COVID, any of that type of stuff. Just some upper respiratory thing that's going around and knocking people on their butts for a week. So
I had a little thing like that.
I haven't been here for a hot minute.
I had a little thing like that in '95. I didn't feel bad, but I got kind of sick, and then my doctor said, "Oh, you got pneumonia," and so but I didn't feel sick.
I was really scared I had pneumonia.
I felt so it was no big deal. Then about a year and 2 months later, I'm not feeling well, and this time I feel sick, and I go to the doctor and at the walk-in clinic at the mall, and the doctor, oh yeah, you got this. Here's a antibiotic. 2 days later, my wife comes home from a business trip, and I'm almost dead. And she takes me to the emergency room, and I had double pneumonia, and I was hospitalized for 4 days. And the doctor said, the pulmonologist I had said, if you come in a day later, if my wife hadn't come home, I never would have gone to the doctor, back to the doctor, because I'd gone, and they gave me medicine. He said, if you come in one day later, it would have been life-threatening.
Ugh.
The guy, the Muppets guy, died just like this.
Ugh.
And so I don't mess around with upper respiratory. There is no such, it was just upper respiratory. That can be really bad,
Yeah.
Even though you're in good shape, I didn't smoke. I had been in good shape, but it was very, very frightening to lay there and go, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. And well, what sucks about it is they can't give you anything to help you feel better, really. So you just got to kind of wait it out, which is what I did. And now we're back, feeling much better. We're good.
And
We
congratulations.
got a fun win to talk about.
Congratulations. Your lawyer got good grades.
Yes,
so
he
now
did
when
get
he
good grades.
represents you in whatever lawsuits you're going to be involved in,
So
you have a better
many.
chance of winning them.
Exactly.
Do
We
you
like
notice
good
anything
grades.
different about me? Not the mask, but do you notice anything different about me?
No, you got your McDonald's drink. What?
For the first time in 6 weeks, I had a new haircut.
That was my next
got a
guess.
haircut.
If you got a haircut,
I
isn't
mean-
every 6 weeks kind of the doesn't
No.
every guy get their haircut
No,
6 weeks?
I do it every 2 weeks, but my wife, my hairstylist, and like 2 or 3 other people were like, Neil, you need to grow your hair
You
out
let
on
it
the
go
side.
crazy.
And so I grew my hair out, and so now they like that. But I go back about every 2 or 3 weeks, and she's like, it's not ready to be cut yet. So he just trims me a little bit. And even this time, she trimmed it a little on top. She goes, it's still not there. I think they're going to do something on top where it's long like it is now on the side, normal length, but it's going to be extra long on top, and then they're going to do some European soccer star type thing.
Get you ready for the World Cup.
I think that's the game plan because Lord knows my knees are not ready, and neither is yours,
No.
so we're equal on that.
No, they are not. We are not ready for all that walking, but we will persevere, of course. Last night, did you watch the KU game?
No, I went out with my wife, and then so we get in the car, and I go, she and I were with another couple, and we went out to the car, and I got my phone, and I went, oh my gosh, they're up 17, like 2 minutes
Over
in the
number
second
2
half.
Iowa State.
They are kicking them. I was afraid it was going to be a beatdown, and then we were going to be talking today about, is Bill Self done? If they have another embarrassing year, they would have been 1-3 in the league with 1 home loss or whatever. It was like, oh my gosh. Instead, wow, what a huge! I haven't seen any highlights, but I am so excited for the program. I'm so excited about. We work with a bunch of University of Kansas fans, and they were absolutely happier today than they've been. Gurpree, our editor, was in a great mood, was talking about it. I ran into Ryan Wright, our 6 o'clock producer.
Everyone's happier when the Jayhawks win around here.
It's like, yes, it's their team. And so
Yeah.
I'm happy for them. I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, I watched most of the game. Sometimes I kind of disassociated, and the Thunder were playing at the same time, so I was watching on a multi-screen, so it was kind of smaller than I would have
Why
liked it to
would
be.
you watch an NBA game this early in the year?
Wasn't my choice.
Is this because somebody you know bets the games? Because why would anybody?
They had bets on the game for sure, but
who were they playing?
They were playing the Spurs, and the
Oh,
Spurs
okay.
have beat them
Okay,
3
I get it.
times this year.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. No, I get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
that's
kind of an important game.
No, it is. It is.
But yeah, so
Who won?
The Thunder.
Thunder had wavered a little bit.
Yeah, they started really strong, and then they kind of a few games, and then they lost the Spurs 3 times, but they're doing well. They got J-Dub back healthy in their starting lineup. Jalen Williams.
Oh, okay.
They have 2 Jalen Williams, and J-Dub is their starting Jalen Williams. The other Jalen Williams is J. Will. He comes off the bench.
Could you imagine dating 2 people that are JW or Jalen Williams?
J-Dub.
Make it easier. Just say J-Dub to both of them and call it good.
J-Dub, J. Will. They got Aaron Wiggins starting. He's a Terp. I covered him in college. Love Aaron Wiggins.
Yep.
But yeah, so KU game, I mean, from the start, I'm like.
Maryland played.
I have a gripe about Maryland.
They played, I saw, where'd they play and what night was it? Because I saw them on.
Last night.
Was it last night?
They played my Maryland Terrapins, an East Coast school who are
from
they
played
the
at UCLA.
Eastern time zone. They played at USC last night.
Oh, USC. But didn't they play UCLA this weekend then?
They probably.
I think they did.
Played at UCLA on the weekend. It was actually on TV around here because other people also said to me, "I saw the Terps were playing on national TV."
Yeah, they were playing at Pauley Pavilion.
Yeah,
and I thought of you. I thought, God, if Katie's not dead, I bet she's watching this because I didn't know if you'd survived your illness.
I was on the brink, but I was still living. This is a bridge year for Maryland basketball, but my gripe with Maryland basketball right now is not even about the way they're playing. They're terrible this year. It's a rebuild year, brand new coach, all transfers. They're playing with the power of friendship. It's the fact that their game started at 10:30 Eastern time last night.
You joined a league.
Crazy.
You joined a league.
I didn't join a league
in the Big Ten because we need to be in the Big Ten. We're too good for the ACC. We need to be in the Big Ten.
I didn't join the league.
Name one team in the Big Ten you guys hated. Really hated.
Like other kids who just weren't as like I'm just a very self-aware person. Like I don't really hate any Big Ten teams except for like.
But that's what rivalry is about.
But we don't have a rival. In the
Can
Big
you?
Ten.
That's what I'm getting at. Is you moved into that, and what we found is that it's harder to sell tickets. It's harder to get people excited. The same thing goes for Missouri without KU. Now they get to play KU again, and we saw what that meant in football. Were you there for that game? Oh,
yeah, we were there.
Yeah, and I did the lion's share of the
Bell
work,
after.
but whatever, you actually shot the game though.
Yeah, we shot the game.
You didn't stay up and eat lobster thermidor like Mark does.
No, not in that press box.
Yeah.
Not in that press box.
And that press box is more like possum. Yeah, they had fried possum.
They had soda drinks.
It's the Ozarks. It's the SEC. It just means more, except in football where they only play 8 games. Yeah. But you don't have a rival. It's just
it stinks.
Listen, when Norm Stewart was over there, and you had Roy Williams over here, and they hated each other, and it was just. And at the Big 8 tournament, they'd buy up all the tickets, So Oklahoma, Nebraska, or Colorado, or whoever else was forget it. They couldn't get tickets because Mizzou, K-State, and KU fans bought up all the tickets. And let me tell you something. Friday at the Big 12 was fun and games before the games, but after people have knocked down a few beverages, it could get pretty rough. You'd be going out of Kemper Arena. Remember Kemper Arena? It's a little bit like a World War I battlefield with holes, with mud and water and stuff and bricks in them and stuff, because that was the parking lot we had around there. It was awful. But, I mean, it would get rough because these fans, after a few beers and stuff, they would start giving each other, garbage, and it could get scary. Yeah. And we missed that. And
there were quite a few Iowa State fans at the KU game last night.
I did.
What I saw.
We went to I went to lunch yesterday with my daughter at Nick and Jake's on 135th, and there were 2 Iowa State cars, and people came in and were eating dinner there wearing Iowa State stuff, and I think that they probably came down from Ames or wherever they live. Yeah. And I almost asked one of them, "Hey, are you guys going to the game?" But my poor daughter hears that from me all the time with people. And I wanted to focus.
My camera's in my car. I can interview you real quick.
No, not quite that bad, but just hey, just that's how you connect with people, right?
Yep.
Sports is a great way to connect with people.
Yeah.
And because you can share. I don't know much about. I really don't know anything about where you're from, but I can at least guess what it was like going to the University of Maryland. And, I don't know Maryland that well. I've covered a few of their games. And I covered their national championship. How old were you when they won the national championship in 2002?
2. Well, actually, technically, I was 1.
1.
Because it was
So you weren't covering the game?
Okay. I was not covering the game. Would have been cool, though. Really funny conversation I did have once, because when I was in Topeka, I covered Washburn men's basketball, and their head coach, Brett Ballard, is a former Jayhawk.
Right.
And when him and I were talking one time, and we kind of just put the pieces together that he was on that KU Final Four team that Maryland beat in the Final Four that year.
Yep.
And he was like, ugh, you guys ended my college career. I was like, well, sorry, Coach.
So Bill Lindsay and I were assigned to go in the Maryland locker room. So we go in. It's the national semifinal, that Saturday game in was it Atlanta? Was that where they played it? No, it wasn't.
It was
Atlanta.
Somewhere in Texas.
It was Atlanta.
Was it?
Yeah.
I was 1.
So we're in the whatever that dome was, a Georgia Dome or whatever it was, and Bill Lindsay and I go in, the photographer and I, and we're like, hey, congratulations on the win. How tough was it beating Kansas? Yeah, it wasn't tough at all. They're overrated. Yeah, they're a system team. They all just bagged on them. They weren't mean, but they were just saying, no, I mean, they're they'd finished 4th in our league. Back then it was the ACC. They're a 4th place team. So we edit these things together, and I called the producer back here, and I'm like, guys, you need to hear this. If you think the KU fans are mad now, wait till they hear this, because they're getting bad-mouthed by the players. They weren't even saying, yeah, they're a good team, and we played great, and we got them down, and we beat them. It was like they bagged on them. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And so that's where I like the coach. Was it Gary Williams? Is that his name?
Yes.
The complaint was he cheated from other coaches, very quietly said, oh, the guy cheats. I thought he was very nice to deal with in the media, and clearly he could coach. I don't,
Our court's named after him, so.
Really?
Hopefully he's a nice guy. Yeah.
And I think they fired him, didn't they? Or forced him out?
Kind of forced him out, yeah.
I remember thinking, boy, that's a pretty big school when you force out the only guy that's won a national championship in the last 50 years.
Yeah, he was there for a while, though. But, yeah, big night for the KU fans. All the Jayhawks are happy. We finally saw Darren Peterson and the rest of the team kind of play in a more cohesive way, which is what the goal has been. Bill Self called it much needed.
Listen, I think tonight, if they get beat, we're talking about if this season continues to go south, they would have been 1-3 in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be? I mean, how tough is this going to be for the fans to accept? And
it's a new age.
It's way too soon.
Yeah.
So I would have been saying, well, look, it's January, and nobody really remembers how teams do in January. What you remember is what they do in March. But if you just stink it up first semester and get whipped pretty bad a couple of times, and then you kind of stink it up second semester early on, at some point you're like, okay, how do we get in the tournament? You know what I mean? I think Kansas is going to get in, barring whatever, even if they lost last night. But I was thinking if they get run, if Iowa State comes in and beats them by 20 at Allen Fieldhouse, that's going to reverberate around the country. And they got lucky because they beat TCU. Otherwise, they would have been 0-3.
Yeah.
And I think people would have been going, hey, something's up in Lawrence. Has Bill Self lost it? All that stuff, the narrative would have begun. And because they played so well and look like they're supposed to look, and I have not seen the highlights, but I did look at all the numbers, clearly they throttled Iowa State's offense in the first half, which helped them build. And then they had a really nice even distribution of points from their starting 5 and a couple of guys off the bench who contributed. Clearly, this was a really good performance for KU. And so nobody goes down that road, and I'm so glad.
Yeah, I like
so
seeing
glad.
Trey White hit 5 threes last night. I think that was big. It's important for this team to establish that even when Darren Peterson is on the court, other players are capable of scoring and they're capable of being cohesive. Trey White said in a radio interview before the game, and then he was asked about it after the game, they held a players-only meeting after the West Virginia loss.
Those never work, do they?
I don't know. Maybe
when you have a players, Rusty Gluzine back there, you've been around as long as me practically. Have you ever heard of a players-only meeting that worked? He said no. He agreed with everything I said.
Okay, well, we have another big night of college hoops tonight that we'll briefly touch on.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
It's January. Okay, what are the big games? What are the big? No, tell me the big games. I want to hear them.
They're all unranked matchups.
Okay, keep going. I'm getting more interested.
Auburn is at Mizzou tonight. Mizzou men's basketball, they're putting people on notice this year. So they've got people's notice now. You're not going to sneak up. They're not going to sneak up on anybody. Yeah, they're not receiving votes yet, but if they keep winning, they should be receiving votes very soon.
Whenever they beat somebody, well, they're not that good. Oh, Florida's not what they were a year ago after Mizzou beats them. And then they go into Kentucky. Well, Kentucky's terrible. They're trash this year, and their coach is in trouble, and the whole bit. They don't get any credit in football or basketball, anything they do. I swear, baseball, they upset somebody. Well, they're not that good.
Kentucky's a hard place to play, just like Allen. Maybe not to the level of Allen Fieldhouse, but it's a blue blood school. They care about their basketball program. It's a hard place to play.
Have you ever been in there, though? It's like going to the
No.
It's built in. It's connected to a mall. It's like walking through a regular mall, a bad mall. Oh, everything's blue. Oh, look, there's blue
No,
decor.
but I'm giving Mizzou credit here. I'm saying they went in there and they won.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's a dump. It's not like the fans are unbelievable.
Yeah.
The facilities, the anti-Allen Fieldhouse. Imagine if Allen Fieldhouse was Kemper Arena. That's what it would be like. It's terrible.
Well, either way, ESPN2 is where you can watch Mizzou men play tonight. K-State hosts UCF, and the KU women host Oklahoma State. So
again, and we're supposed to care about UCF.
What reason do we even have to care about what K-State's putting on the floor right now?
I like UCF because their basketball, the AD, assistant athletics director for basketball down there, and their AD are both from UMKC, and they're both really good guys. So I actually like UCF and kind of root for them. Obviously not rooting for them tonight. But what's going on with Coach Tang? Are they going to get that turned around over there?
There's something weird going on in Manhattan. And, we always want to see our local teams succeed. And with PJ Haggerty coming in, like, he's a good player.
He's a player.
He's a player. Like, this team has pieces, and something is not connecting. And they just, we saw it early in the season. They were letting these tiny, tiny, tiny schools drop like 85 points on them. And then, K-State scored 94, so it's okay. But they let them, I'm blanking on the name of the school. That's how small this school was. I'd never even heard of it before. Like
Duke?
No.
Duke's a small private school.
Yeah. But that's the point here, is that there's something going wrong with K-State's defense.
How stunned are you? Because were you here when their first run in New York City and they got to the Elite
That was
Eight?
my first year in Topeka. I went
didn't
all the
you
way
think?
with them.
I remember thinking they have struck gold. With this
Jerome
coach.
Tang. Mm-hmm.
This guy is one of the few guys that might be able to transcend NIL and get players to buy into being together. He had been so successful as a recruiter and as an assistant coach at Baylor. He knew the league. If you talk to anybody around the league, they all respected him.
Yeah.
Every single coach. I'm talking about privately, not with the camera on. They're like, no, you guys got lucky because he can do it. He's really, really good.
Yeah.
And too bad, golly.
He was really exciting to cover that year.
If they could have gone to the Final Four that year in Houston, maybe that helps them a little bit because, boy, he knew Texas. And I remember thinking K-State's going to be good because he's going to be able to recruit Texas because he has a relationship with coaches. Mm-hmm. And people know him as a good person. So I'm a little surprised. And it might be something as simple as you can be a great coach, but if you don't have a trigger man, in football, it's the quarterback. In basketball, you got to have a low post presence, somebody who can do, big guy who can do stuff, but you also need a distributor. In that first year that he had Noel, and oh my gosh, who knew how great he was going to be?
We just came to find out. Jerome Tang earns National Coach of the Year for that year because he got that team all the way to Elite Eight. It was a whole bunch of transfers, 2 returnees, one being Marquise Noel. We ended up just finding out in the end, okay, maybe Marquise Noel and Keontae Johnson were just really, really, really good.
But they had 2 or 3 other guys.
And they had a few other
who
guys.
Were players.
Desi Sills comes to mind.
They had
that guy was a dog.
3 other guys who could make plays. They didn't have to carry him, but they were players, and
Big
they could make
12-ish.
Plays.
Yeah.
I had so much fun with that team. I went out and did a story when you and Scott Reese and everybody were all going out and eating dinner together. A big group, I went out and shot a story with the parents of one of the players, and they were about 10 of them. And the mom was going to cry because she's like, I can't believe I'm in New York City. I'm looking around and I can't believe I'm here and my son's playing and everything's so great. It was such a neat trip. And I hope he gets it turned around this year, and I hope that they make a little bit of a run. I like him. He doesn't particularly seem to like me that much necessarily, but
hey, it's good for the Sunflower Showdown when both teams are good at basketball.
well, hey, listen, he's successful at that.
Yeah.
When I've
He's
covered
good at
them,
winning
they
one of
beat
those
him.
games every year.
Yeah, and he's entertaining after the game too.
Yeah.
So it's
I agree.
fun. So I hope they get it going. I think that guy can coach. I think Coach Gates can coach.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where both those teams go this year.
And he's another person I don't think likes me particularly very much. Maybe because
Why don't people like you, Neil?
I don't think I cover their teams very often. When I come in,
They're far away.
I'm kind of like, okay, who are you?
Who are
and,
you?
It's
This
not
is
that they're
Neil
mean.
Jones
It's just
guy.
I don't think that they're, I go other places and coaches will come over and say hi and stuff. But I don't think we don't cover college basketball like we used to go to everywhere because you could shoot. Now you can't shoot the games at KU. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to somebody who went to the Missouri-Florida game, and I said, how was the game to shoot? I didn't shoot it. Why would you cover a game and not shoot the game?
Yeah.
So
it stinks. Not fun. But you have a cool story today that
why do you act so
aired at 5
surprised?
o'clock.
Why do you act surprised?
For once
Oh
in
my
his
gosh,
life.
Neil has a good story.
Neil has a good story.
Did you see it?
I didn't watch the full thing
See,
yet.
you don't know if it was good.
Well,
or
I've been
not.
busy working. I said you have a cool story. So I'm going to give you the platform to tell people what's your story
Tonight
today.
at 10, we're going to re-edit it, but it is one of the most fun, neat stories. I hate this time of year. All the coaching carousel in the NFL. College is a little more interesting. The NFL, it's always the same garbage franchises. And by the way, I said that. And I'm curious if I'm going to get in trouble that I made fun of. I called the Raiders pathetic in the story and said there were the usual dumpster fire, perennial losing franchises like the Browns, like the Raiders, like the who else has got it?
Titans,
Cardinals. There are so many
Dolphins.
bad. Well, the
Ravens.
Dolphins can be decent at times. The Ravens are a good franchise, stable franchise. The Steelers are a stable franchise. But look at the garbage franchises that every 3 years are going to fire somebody. And the Raiders are going to have 3 head coaches in 3 years. They are so bad. But there's a guy that we know here in Kansas City. You see all these weird names, and you don't know the assistant coaches unless they're a former player. You're like, who's that? Oh, he's the passing game coordinator for XYZ. Well, this time it's a name that a lot of us will recognize, and so you'll see that tonight on KCTV5 News at 10, not in the sports section, but in the news section. Are you doing the sports?
I am doing the sports.
Well, you don't get it. News
It's
wants
okay.
it.
We have Mizzou and Auburn and UCF and K-State and KU and Oklahoma State women.
The Oklahoma State coach she used to be at UMKC, and she's from Western Kansas.
Oh, I like the Oklahoma State coach. She's super cool.
I like her.
She's got a good sense of style. She always got really cool shoes on. I noticed those things.
I haven't noticed that.
She's got really cool shoes. They're always very orange for Oklahoma State. Alrighty, so be sure to tune in for that tonight at 10 o'clock. Our last news of the day, Xavier Worthy has undergone successful surgery to repair the fully torn labrum that he suffered back in week 1 against the Chargers in Brazil. He's been playing all season on that.
Tough. That's really hard. It hurts a lot.
He shared this to his Instagram story. We're going to hold it up right there. Whoop.
What does it say?
That's he's on the road to recovery, and that's his little cast there, little shoulder cast.
You know, one thing that I've always thought, having lived in the athletic dorm in college, is that so a guy gets hurt during the football game, and they pull him off, and then you read something the next day in the newspaper, or nowadays with the internet, you can read it that night they're saying that he tore a labrum or he did this or did that. What they don't see is that same person, at the dorm trying to negotiate with a lot of time with crutches and a cast or a soft cast or a splint because they messed their knee or their ankle up, or they can't carry stuff and they're trying to carry their books and try to get around. And you're like, and they're far from home. They're not at home. Mm-hmm. And you can say what you want, but being at home with your mom and dad, people who love you, who will say, hey, I'll get that stuff. You relax. You miss that. And I I've done some stories when I was doing coaches shows at universities. I would do stories like one game, professional game in the United States Football League. Player got hurt on the field, and the game was pretty much decided. So I left with the player and went in the locker room, and he had a real bad neck. He messed his neck up, but he never broke a neck. But he went in there, and there, no cell phones back then, so they wheel him over, and they buy the payphone so he could call his mom and dad from wherever he was from. He wasn't married. This is a pro football player, maybe 2 years out of college, to tell them I'm okay, but they said they think maybe I've got a displaced vertebra in my neck. It's not broken, but it could be serious, so I'm going to have to go to the hospital. And I don't know if you guys might want to come in and fly into Tulsa where the team was. And I mean, you don't see that. So when I see stuff like what Xavier Worthy's going through, it does hit me. They are people. And as you know, anesthesia is no fun necessarily. You've had knee problems, had a knee operation.
Yeah.
So I think that even if you don't think a guy or a woman is a great player, well, they're just they're a backup. It doesn't matter. They're still people, and so I do see that, and it gets to me a little bit.
Yeah,
I know you're not that way, but
credit to him. I mean, he played on that all season long. I mean, imagine maybe if he was a little bit healthier, like maybe he could have been a little more productive. Like maybe that could have been holding him back all season. So
should I apologize because one of my complaints about him is I think the Chiefs have told him this. He goes out of bounds a lot. I mean, the first thing he does is try to get to out of bounds. And I don't want to see him taking shots, but at the same time, sometimes you've got to turn the ball up, turn it upfield. How many times do we see Tyreek Hill? He didn't quite have the angle, but he just exploded. He used that quickness and speed and stayed inbounds and might gain another 20 or 25 yards. He outran the defense. The defense would have the angle, and he just outran it. I think Worthy's got that kind of speed, but maybe now I know maybe this is what they told him. Get out of bounds. You got a bad shoulder as it is.
Maybe.
We need you. Get out of bounds.
Yeah, definitely something to think about in terms of, these guys are human. That's impressive that he did that all season long. Goes to show how much he cares about his team. Best wishes for your recovery, Xavier Worthy.
So we have about a minute. You're going to have knee surgery later this year, right?
Yes.
So I think that we should have the hospital video your surgery, and you should do a package on.
You mean what you
surgery.
did? Like
yeah, but I
20
did it in
years ago?
1989. So the surgery's a little different. Back then, they put you to sleep by hitting you in the head with a rock, Kate. That's what they did. They hit you in the head, and then you were out like a light, literally, and then they would operate. But I think that would be an interesting story. You were a dancer, a serious competitive dancer, blew your knee out. Now you're having problems again. And a lot of people in the audience have pains and aches and pains, not all from sports. It could be from a lot of stuff. And I think that they would find it interesting if you did a thing about the latest in medicine.
I'll consider it. We'll see if you get to be inside my exam room, people at home. Alrighty. Thanks for joining us on KC Sports Tonight. Back here at 5:30 every Monday through Friday, and on air Saturdays and Sundays at 10:30. Bye.